Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled people stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen demanded to get me fired because I refused to sell her skinny jeans. After that, would I be the jerk if I contact my biological siblings to let them know I exist against the wishes of my biological parents? And after that, if you don't like it, leave. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to buy skinny jeans. Don't knock my swag, Reddit boy. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen demanded to get me fired because I refused to sell her skinny jeans. Background info. My name is Sean. This story happened at Walmart in January of this year. I used to work at Walmart in September, but I quit to go work at my sister's donut shop. At Walmart, I worked at the register. I would see this woman from time to time. I actually ended up being good friends with her. She was chill to me and most people all the time, and she was really just cool in general. We would hang out after my shift sometimes, and I loved being around her. Alright, now on to the main story. In January, I was at Walmart looking for a Lego set I've been trying to get for a little less than a year, when suddenly, for the sake of this story, we'll call her Karen. She walks up to me. Hey Sean, it's been a week or two since we last talked. She would randomly pop up out of nowhere and scare me like that. This was one of those times. Oh hey, it has. She quickly interrupted me, which was weird since she would usually let me speak first, but I thought nothing of it since we've known each other for so long. So, I found these amazing skinny jeans that I need so badly, but they don't have them in my size. Can you go check in the back for me? She was talking in one of those snobby Karen voices you would hear in an MK video. Oh, sorry Karen, but I quit my job last month. With that annoying Karen voice, she said, You've always been so funny, Sean. But for real though, can you check the back and see if you guys have this in a size 18? Karen seemed really off today, and this confused me because she's always been really happy. Oh, I'm not joking. I really did quit last month after Black Friday. I can't really handle that many people. I don't know if something just clicked in her head, but she just went off on me for no reason at all. Alright, Sean, enough jokes. If you don't get these jeans in my size, I will get the manager and have you fired and banned from all Walmarts. She was really causing a scene, and I could even see somebody recording from afar. Karen has never really yelled at anybody that I've seen, so this was really confusing and actually kind of scary for me. Whoa, Karen, calm down. I really don't work here anymore. Why else would I not be in uniform? Which she responded with, Well, maybe it's because you're just trying to pull a prank on other people. Well, guess what, Sean? It's not funny, and I'm gonna get the manager. At this point, I'm just standing in the toy aisle, completely confused and embarrassed with all the people that are staring at me. A few moments later, my old manager came with Karen. Let's call him Bob. Now, Bob was the best manager ever. We would hang out any chance we got, but after I quit, we kinda slowed down. We're still in touch though. Here he is. Hey, Sean, Bob is here to fire you. Bob came up to me and said, Hey Sean, it's been a while. How you doing? Yeah, I broke my arm a while back, but other than that, I'm fine. Karen looked shocked and so confused, which kind of made me cackle a bit. Bob told Karen, Hey lady, Sean actually quit a month ago, so he doesn't work here anymore. Of course, Karens hate being denied, so she said, Even the manager is in on the prank? I'm out of here. Karen stormed out, and after that, I never heard from her again. This whole situation was so weird and out of character for Karen, so I'm still kind of confused as to why she flipped out on me. If she sees this post, chances are she's gonna sue me for harassment. Also, I'm pretty sure she stole the skinny jeans that weren't even her size, nor were they the proper size for skinny jeans. Edit. A ton of people are confused on how my arm magically healed so fast, but prior to when the story takes place, I was able to get my cast taken off since it had been 4.5 weeks since I broke my arm. Without my cast, it wasn't too obvious that my arm was broken. Hope this helps clear things up. Would I be the jerk if I contact my biological siblings to let them know I exist against the wishes of my biological parents? I'm male, 18. I was adopted by a couple who separated shortly after my adoption, and I was eventually taken away from them and placed into foster care when I was 3. That's where I grew up. Recently, I've acquired details about my biological parents from a family friend who helped connect them to my adoptive parents all those years ago. I looked them up online. They have 3 kids, a son who's 15 and twin daughters who are 13. The son has the same name as me. A few weeks ago, I went to the church they go to and I saw them from a distance. I didn't introduce myself, just wanted to see them before they knew who I was. Also figured out where they live. About 2 weeks ago, I finally sent a message to my mom, explaining who I am and telling her that I would like to meet them. She saw the message that day, but didn't reply for a whole week, and then just sent a very short message telling me they're not interested in getting to know more about me or having me in their lives, to not contact her or her family ever again. I sent a message to my dad then, and he said we can have a phone call. We had that call last week. He didn't even let me tell him anything about myself. He explained that they had had me when they were 22 and didn't want a kid back then, so they gave me to another couple, and there really isn't anything for us to discuss. He said he doesn't want to know more about me and doesn't want to hear from me again. I'm not going to lie, this was difficult for me to hear and I had a few days to process it. But I get it. They didn't want me then and they don't want me now. I'm trying my best to just get over it, but I still have 3 siblings. Maybe they would want to get to know me. So I sent another message to my dad, thanked him for taking the time to speak with me and being frank about what he wants. I explained that I respect the fact that he and my mom don't want me in their lives, and that's their choice, and I will respect that. However, I have 3 siblings, and I would like to meet and get to know them. He called me an hour later. This time he was angry and told me that he made it clear that I have no place in their family and I should stay away from all 5 of them forever. He said the kids don't know about me and it will stay that way. I wasn't expecting him to call me or the aggression, so I was kind of shocked, but I was like, but that should be their choice. And he said he's not going to discuss his family with me. Ended the call with saying, "Do not contact any of us ever again." Would I be the jerk if I went to talk to my siblings, introduce myself, and let them know that they have an older brother? I'm obviously not trying to be a jerk here, but I don't think the parents get to make this decision about their kids. I do want a relationship with my siblings, of course only if they want that too. If my siblings don't want to get to know me, I'll stay away from all of them. You would be the jerk, but not once the eldest turns 18. Reach out to him then, and he can decide whether to tell his sisters. If he doesn't, reach out to them when they turn 18. Just be sure to respect any boundaries they set. I'm just curious why you want all this. Is it to fill a void within yourself? That's never a good reason to disturb someone else's peace. I think you should respect their decision. If they want to tell their kids about you, that's their choice. They are the parents, and they know what's best for their family unit better than you do. It may be a bridge they are waiting to cross once their kids are adults, and by then, they may have the mental fortitude to be able to handle this information and make the decision for themselves. Not gonna lie, you are coming off a bit bitter. It sounds like you weren't lost in the system. I won't say I know your life, but unless you suffered something really bad as a result of your adoption, perhaps appreciate they made what was likely a difficult but better decision for your well-being. You're the jerk already by how cold and calculated you've been so far, going to their church to measure them up, doing background research, and figuring out where they live and details of work and schooling. These are some serious red flags here about your behavior, OP. Everyone here sucks as well. The parents are certainly jerks too. Soft, you're the jerk. You don't have the right to disturb this family when not everyone is adults and the 2 adults in the family have made it clear they don't want you to be involved in it. It sounds like you'd want to just cause chaos and call out your bio parents for something that isn't really anyone's fault. They accidentally got pregnant. It's understandable that you want to know them and connect with them, but the parents of those kids have made it clear they don't want you doing that. You're also somewhat endangering their emotional and mental health by just coming by with serious information. You could get in trouble for harassment because that is what you're essentially doing. Wait until they're 18 and see what happens, or just move on. Make your own family. Do a 23andMe and find out whatever from your genes. But don't harass people who don't want you there. It's bordering unhinged behavior to threaten your biological parents for not wanting to open up the can of worms that you kind of are. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his biological parents? Please let us know. I think the jerks are these commenters on Reddit. Don't you people have hearts? But the parents too, they really suck. If you don't like it, leave. I worked as a waiter at this Italian restaurant in New York City in the early 2000s. The restaurant is now closed, and we'll get to that. I, 22, male at the time, was in my 5th year working there, and new ownership took over. The restaurant wasn't doing as well as it used to, but it still had a loyal base, 40-plus year history, and good location. The old owners were just getting older and built a new restaurant in New Jersey closer to home. The new owners were Mike and Jerry. Names changed, blah blah blah. Jerry was the one with a restaurant experience and was pretty quiet, a bit of a nerd, and by the books. Mike was a mechanic and was somewhat unpredictable, but also fun to be around for the most part. Most of our client base at this restaurant were families, older couples, and basically middle-class people from the neighborhood. Honestly, it was the best Italian food in the borough for the price, in my opinion. I loved it as someone who worked there in his early 20s because I worked 5 p.m. to 10 Friday and Saturday, and Monday all day, and made around $300 to $400 a week, back when minimum wage was $5.50 an hour. Pretty darn good for a college kid with few to no bills. Now, there were only a few other waiters and waitresses. James, who left because he became a teacher, Tom, who left because he became a fireman, Will, who was about to leave to become a court officer or something, Erica, a cute new girl, Agnes, older housewife who worked there for 25 plus years, Jill, another older and beloved waitress who worked 25 plus years there, and me, that's it. So we had new owners and some key spots needed filling. We were on a skeleton crew and I was picking up extra shifts, as was Erica. Most of these waiters who were leaving were there for like 6 plus years. The customers liked seeing the same faces. Well, Mike and Jerry, the new owners, decided they wanted all young waiters and waitresses, so they fire Agnes and Jill. The customers were jolted and unhappy. Now, context aside, Erica and I were working a party of about 22 people. It was the last table of the night. When the bill was settled and Erica and I cleaned up, we asked Jerry for the tip. "There isn't a tip," he said without lifting his face from his paperwork. Now, for parties of 5 plus, I always included the tip unless it was a customer I knew and trusted. I made the bill and I knew there was a tip. I asked Jerry again and he meekly said, "No tip." Now, Erica and I were privately discussing how this is BS, and in comes Mike. He begins screaming at us. "You think we stole from you?" he yelled, red face. "We don't steal. You accusing us of theft?" He continued aggressively yelling the same thing over and over until he said, "If you don't like it, then quit." He then stormed off. Now, I should mention that my best friends all moved to California months before this, and I had plans of moving there with them next month. I didn't give my 2 weeks notice yet because it was 4 weeks out. I told Erica this. "Yeah, forget this place," she said. As we were packing up to leave, Jerry came over and gave us our tip with no explanation. Weird. Then Mike calmly said, "So, see you tomorrow?" "No," I said calmly. "I quit." "Me too," Erica said. "Okay," Mike said, deadpan. Well, it wasn't okay. They now had no waiters in a restaurant that needed at least 4 to 5 to function. Even if you pulled someone off the street, they don't know the system, the menu, the customer base, the wine list, etc. They were done for. They called me incessantly for days afterwards, begging me to come back. I considered it because I could use more money before my big trip to San Diego, but forget them. They even called me throughout the summer asking if I could come in. "Sorry, I'm 2,000 miles away," I said. I'm not sure if they believed me, but I was gone. The restaurant only lasted a few more months, and it saddens me because I loved the place. But if you buy an old Italian restaurant with a built-in clientele, don't scare them off by making stupid changes. Now, if I stayed there, would the restaurant have been saved? No, I doubt it. But a lot of customers would have had better dining experiences those last few months instead of the 15-year-old busboys being their new waiters. Am I the jerk for using my husband's car to get to work after he tricked me into going to his family's barbecue party? I, 33 female, am a nurse. I have a very, very busy schedule. It's been absolutely crazy the past couple of years. My husband, male 36, works an office job, and because he's a family-oriented type of guy, he always hangs out with his family. His family live on a ranch in the middle of literally nowhere. It's a hassle to go there, and due to my work nature, I don't go to most of their functions. I do, however, make sure to attend the big ones. Last week, his family wanted to host a barbecue party. He wanted me to go with him so badly since all his brothers were bringing their wives and since they mocked him for coming alone in the past. I said sorry, but I had a shift to cover. He begged, suggested I swap shifts with other nurses who are my friends, and even called them all to beg them to cover for me. I grew irritated and told him to stop it. He sulked for a whole day, but then he dropped it. In the morning, and hours before my shift, I discovered that my car's tires were out of air. My husband offered to drive me to the hospital at 4 p.m. and I agreed. I got ready and we got in the car, but instead of taking me to the hospital, he drove me straight to his family's ranch. I was dumbfounded and angry after he said he tricked me into attending this barbecue and that I had to suck it up and set this shift out. I was so mad I didn't even know what to say. We got to the ranch and I sat outside fuming. I waited and saw I still had time to make it to the hospital if I figured out a way to get there. I watched my husband go inside, leaving his keychain next to me, right where he was sitting. I took it and rushed to the back where all the cars were parked, got into the car and drove off. His dad saw me and told him. He started calling my phone relentlessly till I turned it off. I got to the hospital in time, but didn't dare turn my phone on until it was past 8 p.m. I opened it and saw tons of angry messages from him, losing it on me, calling me horrible and a manipulator. I got on the phone with him and he yelled about the awful stunt I pulled and bailing from the party and making him look bad in front of his family. He then calmed down and said he now knows that work is more important to me and that he won't ever trust me after I basically stole his car and ran with it. We've been on terrible terms since then. His family are also mad, but I haven't spoken to them about it yet, nor calcified anything. Am I the jerk for what I did? I was desperate and worried that messing my shift might cost me my job. Not the jerk. You do know that he was the one that messed with your tires, right? Right. I read that the tires were out of air, and I was like, yeah, sure. Not the jerk. I wonder where he'll take you next time without your permission. Not the jerk. I'm sorry, he called you manipulative? The person that lied to your face to get you to do what he wants you to? On top of this, he prioritizes his leisure time over your career. Don't you dare apologize to him. Feel free to leave him. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her husband? Please let us know. I just want to know why you pronounce barbecue like that. Am I the jerk for refusing to hide my engagement and uninviting my dad to my wedding? I, 33 female, just got engaged to my boyfriend, now fiance, 33 male, of 4 years. My stepsister, 35 female, stepmother's daughter, is on the slower side mentally, but I don't know exactly what her diagnosis is because her stepmother / my dad's wife is in denial about it all while coddling her at the same time. My stepsister is not dangerous, but she can behave awkwardly and inappropriately and just makes people uncomfortable. She's always had a crush on my boyfriend, now fiance, and has gotten angry whenever we acted like a normal couple. She cries and throws tantrums for hours upon hours over it, so we have been low contact with my father as a result. I called my dad to let him know that we got engaged, and he's wanting me to hide it for a while, to not tell anyone at the 4th of July party we were supposed to go to this weekend, to not put it on social media, and to come to the party without my ring until my stepsister can get used to it. After my dad gently breaks it to her, and he said not to act too close with him at the party. Mind you, we don't do PDA, we just act like a normal couple. I asked him how long he expected us to keep up the charade for, and he said in a very annoyed tone, I don't know, just give us time to break it to her. And I told him, under these conditions, that we would be declining the invitation to the party and all other family events until we're allowed to act like a normal couple. And I absolutely will not hide it on social media. I will put it up just as any other newly engaged couple and let the chips fall where they may. And I said if he's not going to be 100% supportive of my engagement and marriage, then he does not need to come to my wedding. That I'm not going to disrespect my fiance by acting ashamed of him in public. And I told him in order for us to resume contact, he needs to be publicly supportive of my relationship, not just secretly or under the radar. My stepmother picked up the other line and joined us on the phone. She said I'm being selfish, that I know how hard my stepsister has it, that she'll never have what I do, and I should be understanding and considerate. And my dad basically agreed with her. Although it's none of my business, my stepmom clearly wears the pants in the relationship, so to speak, and my dad will always acquiesce to her. I told them that since they're ashamed of us, that they will never have to worry about justifying our existence to anyone ever again, because we will not be coming around, and they will not be invited to my wedding unless they have an attitude makeover. Let me act like any other normal couple and are 100% supportive of my upcoming marriage, and hung up. My dad's side of the family says I'm being insensitive, that my stepsister has it really hard and will never have what I have, and I need to be gentle with her. I told them if they want to handle her with kid gloves, that's their prerogative, but I'm going to live my life how I choose, and they have absolutely no right to tell me what I can and can't put on my social media. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk at all. So she's in denial about her clear instability and won't treat her or even acknowledge it, but expects you to change your life and your excitement so they don't have to deal with the consequences of not getting her help? BS. Great choice overall. Not the jerk. Not the jerk. They're being unfair to you and your stepsister. Everything about their behavior is disgusting. If her issues are so severe you have to act like your partner is a stranger to prevent hour-long tantrums, she needs serious intervention. She's 35, not 5. You're doing the right thing. If you invite them to your wedding, it will become the placate stepsister show, and you don't need any of that. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her dad and stepmom? Please let us know. I don't think I'd want to have anything to do with them, to be honest. To them, coddling her is more important than supporting you and your happiness. Am I the jerk for charging a bride more for makeup when the original price we agreed on was lower? I've been a makeup artist for the past 9 years. I charge $500 for bridal makeup, around $250 for bridesmaid, etc. makeup. But for regular party makeup, I charge around $150. So a few weeks ago, a lady had booked me for a party makeup on June 25th. She booked at 10 a.m. I went there thinking I'd do a regular party makeup. I had agreed $150 with her. As I was there were some people coming over. I assume relatives. At some point it slips from a woman about the wedding, and I realize the woman I'm doing the makeup on is the bride. I'm doing a bridal makeup, charging for simple party makeup. I was completely upset how she lied about the occasion, but I kept doing my job. After we were finished, she gave me $150, and I notified her we are actually $350 short. She asked what I meant by that, and I said that I did a bridal makeup. You're the bride. That's what I charge for brides. She said we had agreed on a simple party makeup, and that I'm basically ripping her off because I worked the same amount of time and used the same products as I'd use in a bridal makeup, so the title of the event shouldn't matter. I told her she doesn't get to dictate how I form my prices. She then refused to pay me at all and called me a scammer and told me to get out. Before I left, her mom threw $200 in my face and told me to get lost. I was telling what happened to my friends, and they all sided with the bride and said that unless I used more expensive products and I did extra labor, then I'm not justified in charging her more, and since she requested a party makeup, I should just charge her for that. Am I the jerk? She did not ask for bridal treatment and didn't do a makeup test run. You used the same products you would use on a simple party makeup and attempted to upcharge her $350 for what exactly? Just because she's the bride and you want to squeeze more money out of her? If you used different products or it took way longer, then sure, I could see the upcharge. But you didn't, and it didn't. So yes, you're the jerk. Edit. To those saying OP did nothing wrong, OP stated the only difference in the makeup is setting spray. Unless that spray was made by the gods themselves, it is not worth the $350 upcharge. Edit 2. If anyone can justify why you would charge her more for no extras other than a setting spray, when all she asked for was simply party makeup and didn't demand or ask for more than that, just because she's a bride, then okay. You're the jerk. Once you found out, you should have told her the prices for bridal makeup. And seeing how everything you use for party makeup and bridal makeup is the same other than the setting spray, she was right to call you a scammer. A $350 difference for a couple of sprays to set the makeup, that spray better be made of God's tears. You're the jerk. As a fellow makeup artist, there's absolutely no reason I can see for that massive price disparity. She asked for party makeup. Don't give her anything special beyond that. It was your choice to use the more expensive product, not hers. But even if it wasn't, an extra $350? Come on. You're the jerk in this situation, and you're the jerk in business. She asked for party makeup. You gave her party makeup. She didn't ask for anything extra, and you didn't provide anything extra. So what difference does it make? And after reading your response to other comments, you're the jerk for charging your customers an extra $350 for different setting spray. That's daylight robbery. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her customer? Please let us know. I would have finished the job, taken the payment, and just not worked for them again. It's a Wrangler. During my time selling cars, I sold a lot of Jeep Wranglers. For those who don't know, the Wrangler is purpose-built to go off-roading and really isn't that great of an everyday SUV. My customers who bought a Wrangler and knew what they were getting were happy. My customers who didn't know what they were getting and bought a Wrangler hated it. Had a guy come in with a BMW X5 to trade in on a Wrangler. I took him on a test drive. I explained the cons of a Wrangler. It's a rough ride, gets horrible gas mileage, doesn't hold in the heat or the cool air very well. It's bumpy, even though it's big, how it's designed can make for a cramped driving, and it has a lot of quirks, and that's how it's built. It's meant to be that way. This was a Sport S 4-door automatic hardtop with a few features like heated seats, and we sold it to him for about $45,000. I remember him asking me questions like, "Are these seats power?" "No, they aren't." Or, "Are the seats cooled?" I go, "No, they aren't." I remember him asking me about features it didn't have a lot. I even remember asking him, "Are you sure you really want to trade in your X5 for a Wrangler?" Well, he did. Over the course of the next several weeks, he would complain to me, "Wind noise is really loud." Me, "It's a Wrangler." "It doesn't keep the heat in very well." "It's a Wrangler." "Its gas mileage is horrible." "It's a Wrangler." "It's really bumpy." "It's a Wrangler." I finally said, "Would you like your BMW back?" He said, "You will unwind the deal?" I said, "No, but you could trade your Wrangler into us and we can sell you your BMW back." He said, "All right." He came in, we offered him $40,000 for his Wrangler, and we sold him his BMW back for $1,000 more than we paid him for it. When we gave him $40,000 for his Wrangler, he was surprised because he expected our number to be lower, and he asked, "Why are you giving me $40,000? I said, "It's a Wrangler," and he smiled. Yes, he basically spent $6,000 to what amounts to renting a Wrangler for 6 weeks. What do you think about Wranglers? Do you like them or not? Please let us know. I always thought they were kind of cool and kind of used to want one, but after reading this story, I think I'll pass. Karen's stepdaughter demands I pay her credit card debt. I have been remarried to my amazing new wife for about 6 years now. She has moved in with me along with her now 23-year-old daughter. After my most recent divorce, I have saved money aside so that I can put my son through college. He has just turned 18 now. My stepdaughter, unfortunately, has had difficulties managing her money responsibly. She has gone on shopping sprees during lockdown using the CARE Act stimulus checks from the government to buy herself Louis Vuitton bags and red-bottom heels. We understand that she has put herself in a difficult position. That's why we are considering bailing her out just once to help her. My wife says that we should use the money from my son's college fund to bail her out. I refuse to because I've saved that money specifically for my son. My wife is upset as she thinks that we should operate as a team and treat each kid as if they were our own. Am I the jerk in this situation? Edit. Thank you for all of the responses. I didn't realize this post was going to blow up. I have decided I will not be providing my stepdaughter any funds out of my son's college tuition. My wife and I have scheduled counseling to discuss further steps. Rest assured, my stepdaughter will have to learn to cover this herself, will not be responsible, and will not punish my son because of poor spending on her side. Again, thank you for all of the replies. Reject my idea, then praise the dumb idea from the boss's daughter? So, back when I was a university student, I got hired for a summer vacation position at a dog training school to design and maintain their website. It was kind of one of those scammy sorts of certifications that would never land anyone a job anywhere, but it was a thing and the school was actually fairly popular. Now, this was back in the day before MySpace, where GeoCities websites were our own little touch on the internet. If you are young enough to never have had the pleasure of visiting a GeoCities site, here are a few of the common themes. Like the Dawson's Creek theme? Not for long, because your inner ear canal is going to be eviscerated on half the ones you visit with "So open up your morning light" being shouted at you. All the fonts, all of them, from Comic Sans to Times New Roman, you're going to see them all. Wait, all those fonts are visually appealing. Better make a giant slurry of colors in the background to balance it out. And let's top all of that off with some low-res, low FPS GIFs. Utter perfection. Anyway, I was an actually competent web designer, and it was clear that their official website was made by a not-so-competent web designer. It was basically a GeoCities site, hosted off GeoCities, which somehow made it worse. That's kind of why they hired me. A lot of their graduating customers in the final survey called the homepage a total mess. The daughter of the owner of the company had designed it, and she was not happy that people disapproved of her work. You see, I was the poor person in the position of cleaning up her crap, and I really did make a valiant effort to be civil about my job, essentially boiling down to undoing her job. You have to understand here that at the end of the GeoCities era, people were beginning to realize that visitors to our websites didn't want to have seizures upon opening them, and the web in itself was gradually moving towards simplicity. Drop-down menus were all the buzz, especially because high-speed cable was not yet popularized, but nobody wanted to load an abomination that reminded them of that god-awful teeny drama with kids who had thesauruses in their back pockets. The owner's sweet baby girl had also apparently caught wind of what they were paying me, which she thought was far too inflated. Their course salespeople were making half the hourly that I was making, so why did they need me when they had her? The jerk drove a brand new Volkswagen New Beetle, so obviously she wasn't hurting for money, but I digress. During our first meeting, she asked me about my plans for the website. I went over how the current website's bones were good, which they most assuredly were not, but it could use a more modern touch. I proposed simplifying it, with drop-down menus and so on. During this meeting, the owner's daughter gradually transferred her smug smiles into a sneer, and later on into a full-out scowl. Eventually, she interrupted me, saying that I wasn't there to redesign the site, the purpose for which I was explicitly hired, but to do the tech stuff with her doing the design stuff. In general, people agreed with her. Maybe art director was hidden somewhere in her BS consultant title, but whatever. I realized then that my tenure there wasn't going to last long. To milk out every penny from my paycheck, I suggested that she handle the design side and I build the site. Without exaggeration, everything she suggested was bordering on malicious stupidity. I did it all anyway. Barking sounds on clicking links? You got it. Wait, you want me to put how many success story pictures on one page? Well, you're the designer. Yes, I'm fairly sure that DISIPLINE is the correct spelling after all. No, I'm sure people's 56K internet connections will handle this just fine. A month and a half later, our abomination was complete. She was strangely satisfied, and to this day, I wonder if the entire thing was a ploy to get back at Daddy for something. You could legitimately build a better site in the GeoCities web wizard tool. If the job mattered at all to me, I probably would have thrown up in disgust. When it was unveiled, everyone in the company unanimously hated it, and all I could say was that I was just the tech guy. I was soon thereafter let go for unrelated reasons, and a month later when I visited their site, I noticed they had gone back to the old one. Out of curiosity, all these years later, I just looked up the school, and apparently they still do exist. My act of malicious compliance obviously didn't do any long-lasting damage on them, as their new website is about what you would expect from one in 2021. But goodness gracious, I am still proud of myself. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.